Hey guys, today we got a bit of a longer video than usual. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can turn Fallout 4 into a true, or at least a better RPG than it is in vanilla. And it might take quite a few mods, but I'm going to try and guide you through every single one of them through the whole process, just so I can make it a little bit easier. So make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel. And let's dive right in because this intro shouldn't be that long.
Hey boy.
So just to start us off, I'll firstly want to list some requirements and bare minimums that everyone should get if you don't already have it. The very first thing that you should do when you first start modding Fallout 4, just a quick guide, is that you actually want to open up your Fallout 4 custom ini and put this there on the screen. And if there isn't one, then you could just create it by copying the Fallout 4 ini and pasting it. It'll ask you to just rename it, which is fine. You can do that, and then you just go in there and delete everything and then copy and paste what I just put on the screen. And then save and close, and then that should be pretty much it. This file is usually in your documents folder, but you can also do it from your mod organizer, either Vortex or mod organizer. Both of them let you do it. But now we can get into the fun stuff, actually modding. So the first few mods that you absolutely need before we do anything else is, firstly, you might want to grab Unofficial Fallout 4 patch, which, whether you like it or not, is definitely very much needed by a lot of other mods, or they just refuse to work. Not sure the exact details of why, but that's just how it is. And the second mod you're going to want to grab is Mod Configuration Menu, which is actually why we set up Fallout 4 custom ini, because otherwise MCM would not work. So it all comes to a full circle. And finally, you want to grab Address Library, and that should be the last utility mod that you need for this setup. Most of the other ones, if you need a utility one, is if you want to use another mod that probably won't be included in this list. But if it is, I'll definitely let you know. So now to start us off, we're going to focus on the HUD, because the HUD is the major part of making a game feel like an RPG, because if people don't want it to feel like an RPG, they just turn the HUD off. So I think that's pretty telling. So the first mod you want to get is HUDFramework, because that is what allows mod authors to actually edit and place new things on your HUD. But right after that, because it is kind of hard for me to do a showcase for that, but you're going to want to grab FallUI. This is my personal preference and probably the biggest mod of this list. I know some people don't use FallUI, but it is the most updated and supported. And when I say FallUI, I mean pretty much every mod with the name FallUI in it. From FallUI HUD, which is the most important one, to FallUI Inventory and FallUI Confirm boxes. There's more, but you get the point. You're going to want to grab all of them because it helps make FallUI HUD function better. And that's how you're going to pretty much make your HUD look like whatever you want it to. You can even make it look like Fallout 76 if that's what you want to go to, or even Starfield. The possibilities are pretty much endless once you have FallUI. Every FallUI mod you should get will be in my description, because otherwise this video will be about 30 minutes long if I list and descript every single one of them. So I know you guys don't want to hear my voice for that long. So the next mod that you want to grab is Extended Dialogue Interface. This mod allows you to view every option for the dialogue that your character would say, and it's full length. Full dialogue interface is also still usable, and that one is a bit more customizable if you prefer that. But from my experience using it, I got lookup failed a lot. That was just my modding experience being a little lacking. So if you know what you're doing, you can definitely go and grab that. But if you want to just stick to something simple, a plug and play with no issues, I definitely recommend Extended Dialogue Interface. Next, you're going to want to grab Companion Status HUD. I generally don't play with followers because they can be a little noisy, but this one makes me actually want to. This mod adds a little box to the side of your screen that shows companion current status. If they're down, or if they disappear because they died, because they're non-essential, because non-essential NPCs can also appear here if they follow you. But at least you'll always be aware when Dogmeat finally gets downed again, like always. But if you want to take this mod to the next level and make it more modern and enjoyable, then I definitely recommend Companion Status UI Remastered, which completely changes this. The icons are immersive to Fallout 4, in my opinion, and have great quality to each of them. Every single important follower, listen when I say important follower, will have different icons, so you can finally remember who you decided to have follow you, or every single person that you brought with you to fight super mutants. Next up, another super important one that I really can't play Fallout 4 anymore without. This mod is called HUD++. This mod introduces more information to objects as you look at them, showing their weight, damage per second, and also other little small information depending on what object you're currently looking at. I do want to point out though that not every FallUI HUD preset was made with this in mind, so when you set it up it may look a little weird, but if you love this mod like I do, and you'll find a preset that makes this work. Because I mean, the whole point of this video is that it's an RPG overhaul, but I guess this one can be skipped if you prefer. And yeah, we're going through these a little quickly, but we're going to keep that going since most of these are HUD mods and don't really need a few minutes to explain. But the next mod is more so my personal opinion of a must. This mod is called Favorites Menu EX. This mod overhauls the favorite menu to look like a wheel menu rather than the usual Fallout 4 cross. I never really had any issues using this because it functions just like the normal favorite menu. It just looks better and lets you customize it more to your liking. And yes, even though I haven't played it, I am aware that this is based on Fallout New Vegas, which is widely agreed upon to be the best, so maybe this is for the better option. And the next mod up, just to go a little further into menu customization, we have Fallout 4 Wheel Menu. This mod is similar to Favorites Menu EX, but a lot different at the same time, because this one actually doesn't replace the Favorites menu, instead giving the optional for a better inventory organizer and navigator, because no one wants to always open their inventory to switch weapons. And maybe you used up all your favorite slots, which is something I usually don't do, but maybe you just happen to this time, so that's why it's a great mod to use alongside favorite menu. I usually keep mines like this because I like the way that it looks, but if you want to customize it a little more, there is a FallUI version, which also does look good. Personal preference. Okay, so these next mods is completely optional. I'm personally recommending them, but it is 100% not needed. So firstly, we're going to start off with floating damage, which just makes it so anytime damage is done, a number will appear letting you know just how much damage you've done to some people. Sometimes it does do it for NPCs as well, but that depends on how you have it set up. And some people really aren't a fan of this and they let me know every time they see it, but I mean honestly, it's personal preference. The numbers can get a little tedious and distracting once they're on your screen 24/7 when you're in combat a lot, but I mean it does make it look like a true RPG. Next up we have nameplates, floating health bars, which does something similar to floating damage, but instead this mod adds health bars on top of friendly and hostile NPCs while in combat, or just when they take damage. Even if I'm not using floating damage, I'm definitely using this. My version looks a little different from the normal one you'll find on Nexus because I'm using a Discord version, and the name is Nameplates Remastered. Okay, so for the final HUD mod, this mod is called MODLIST by TuneX. The reason I put this last, even though this is a great mod that I can't play without, and it modernizes the HUD, is because it's paywalled, but it adds player information and level, which is like the main reason I use it, but it does come with a few other widgets that I'm showcasing. Besides just the name and the health, another major part is that it also features an ammo UI with also custom guns. For a lot of supported guns, but some of them aren't supported, so they might just get the most basic vanilla gun icon. Alright, that was pretty much it for HUD. As you can see, that already took me over 8 minutes, even with me shortly explaining every mod. But now we can get into the gameplay mods that you guys might want to grab, just to take your RPG elements to the next level. So stick with me maybe just a little bit longer. To start us off, we're going to add a massive mod in a small download size. This mod is called Start Me Up Redux. We aren't just fully using this mod just to skip the intro because there are a lot of mods that do that. This quite literally allows for you to not be forced into playing as Nate, or Nora if you prefer to play as female, with this mod. You can finally be whoever you want to be, or you can still continue to be Nate and Nora. I mean, that's kind of boring though. And there's also dialogue to finally show this when you meet NPCs. Of course, for main quest reasons and to not completely break your game, some NPCs will still address you as the main character, but everything not essential to the main story such as DLC and side quests will pretend you're a nobody. You can be a regular citizen to Diamond City and never leave the walls if you prefer that startup, or you can even befriend raiders and just live out your life robbing and looting. I don't recommend this version though, but some of you guys are violent, so I'll leave you alone and let you do what you want to do. It's the whole point of this mod. The next gameplay mod I advise you to get is Uneducated Shooter. This is that mod whenever you look up ultra modded Fallout 4 gameplay and they're leaning like they're on some type of drug, maybe LSD. This is the mod that allows that. You can customize the in-game with the MCM, letting you choose just how far you lean. I have mine set up so I can only lean while aiming down sights, because I also have it set to Q and E keys on my keyboard. And with this set to only aim down sights when using them, it just lets me use it and still use the other hotkeys for other things. So no issues that way. The next one is meant to be used with Uneducated Shooter. Well, at least in my opinion it is. They're not requirements, but this mod is called Bullet Time Slow Time. This mod lets you pick a hotkey and once pushed, time will slow down. For the cost of AP, it isn't free. You can also customize the AP cost though, so it can be free if you wanted to, but at first it does cost quite a bit. This mod doesn't request VATS, so you can use both, because it will still be there for the people who can't aim. And when I say that, I am talking about myself, unfortunately. Next one, just to save you the headache of companions, I highly advise this mod. This mod is called Disable Companion Collision. This just makes it so Dog Meat can no longer block doors and have you frustrated. Now you can just walk straight through him, and any other follower. So just get in and thank me later. Next mod is pretty much a utility, but definitely needed if you want to survive more than 2 seconds. You want to grab NPC Accuracy Revised, because this mod makes their aim like yours. Instead of being snipers and hitting every shot with a 360 no scope, they now have a chance to miss, just like you always do. But it kind of depends on the enemy type, so bugs are more likely to miss than if you were to fight, say, a gunner, because most of them are trained soldiers and they will most likely kill you in a few shots. Another mod you can grab is Level Up Menu EX. This mod makes it so leveling up is like older Fallout games, so there will be new stat categories and new ways to increase skills, rather than just Fallout 4's vanilla. This mod is amazing, but people do experience issues which you can actually find on the mod page with this from time to time, so if you're willing to take that risk, I definitely recommend to try out this mod. Otherwise, vanilla level up system is just fine, and that's actually what I use. But it'd be a crime if I didn't at least mention this mod. One mod I would recommend also, for the sake of expanding on vanilla gameplay system, is Infiltrator, which is actually a mod I just showcased in my previous video. This mod is a replacement for the old mod Locky Bastard. This mod lets you bash, shoot, or force open locks, but it is based on weapon and skill level in said option. But you can also fail these options also, they aren't an automatic guarantee. And if you do fail, it will jam the lock and force you to use the vanilla option, which is just lockpicking it with a bobby pin. And if you don't have one, you're just out of luck. But the main reason I recommend it is that because when people play on survival, bobby pins aren't just laying around everywhere. So it's nice to have an alternative option like this. Next up, of course, I'm going to now throw the major mods at you now that I'm done with my personal favorites, which is the main mods by Dankraft. I feel like these are absolutely essential in any major Fallout 4 overhaul. Of course you can argue with me, but they're going to probably be in your favorite Fallout 4 mod list if you use Wabbajack. And when I say Dankraft, I mean mods like Equipment and Crafting Overhaul, which lets you mod armors and clothing to your liking, along with weapons, allowing you to apply new tags to equipment such as making them legendary, or even making them something very overpowered. Like you can literally make a weapon do 5 times its original damage, but I mean, if that's your main reason for avoiding this is that you can make equipment overpowered, you just probably need self-control, and that's not this mod fault. Because then there's also Legendary Effect Overhaul, which lets you completely control how legendaries work in your game, adding new legendary effects, or letting you switch current weapons' legendary effects so you don't have to just stick with one once you get it. It also does feature a few other small features that you might want to explore for yourself. I'm just trying to make you download this because you're definitely going to need it. And then there's also a new equipment overhaul, which is pretty much the original, but I guess no one really cares about that. It fixes the vanilla clothing and lets you expand on them without making your game unplayable. If you don't use the previous mod Legendary Effect Overhaul, you should definitely at least get this one, New Equipment Overhaul and Equipment Crafting Overhaul, because they were pretty much made for each other. One overhaul is clothing, like New Equipment Overhaul, so that you can actually stack armor on top of normal clothing, or actually hide armor if you prefer. And the other, which is just eco, lets you customize that even further. They're literally step 1 and step 2 of each other, which is greatly going to be appreciated once you get in game and finally get to test these. And that's pretty much why I saved these for last, because they are the most essential gameplay mods out of this entire video if you aren't even focusing on the HUD, because these mods do so much to the point that I could probably make a separate video on each one of these 3 mods. So you probably want to just go and grab them. And next up, we're going to tackle the combat aspect of Fallout 4. And I know what you're thinking, you're probably wondering how I just completely transformed my Fallout 4 like that, or maybe you're wondering why. Well, if you guys definitely want a graphical guide, I can definitely do that, but this video is more focused on overhauling the gameplay aspects of Fallout 4, so let's get right into the combat side of it. So the first mod up, well, these are technically kind of like a complete package to completely overhaul combat, but firstly is Blocking Overhaul. This mod pretty much completely nerfs melee blocking and makes it immersive. You can't instant block behemoths or deathclaws anymore, they will still fling you and possibly kill you. Now blocking is pretty much based on how much AP you have. When you run out, then you can't block anymore really. Or you'll take a lot of damage, but you'll still take damage either way. But this isn't only applied to the player, It's also for NPCs as well, so they can't just parry you with the bat while you have a Deathclaw gauntlet. This mod is essential because if guns weren't a thing in this game, you could possibly beat every single thing in this game with just knuckles, and call it a day. The next mod is called Bastion. This mod overhauls the way you use power armors, but in a good way. This mod, like the other one, doesn't actually nerf power armors, but instead makes them actually feel like you're wearing armor for once. So pieces of your suit won't break after a few shots, nor will you die instantly while your power armor is still at full health, which never really made any sense to me. Because now everything is pretty much based on the keyword penetration, which is applied to weapons and bullets separately, determining just how much damage they would do, and also factoring your power armor's defense rating as well. Well, it's called armor rating, but that kinda twists my tongue a little. And just like the other mod of this section, you can also configure this in the MCM if you want. There's definitely a lot more going on here than I'm capable of understanding, but from the simple explanation on the mod page, I definitely knew I needed this, especially the moment raiders were making my power armor feel like paper. Nextly, we have NPCs use items. This mod pretty much does exactly what you think it does. Based on the enemy you're currently fighting and their current status, they will now use items in their inventory, from healing with stim packs or even using drug enhancers to fight you better. And what is great is because they do this, they also have to have the item in their inventory, which means that in survival modes, you'll be more likely to find more medicines. I'll say that instead of drugs. But of course, this isn't too common. Every enemy won't be healing, making combat annoying. At base, this mod is pretty rare to actually see, but you can definitely turn the odds up in the MCM. But I feel like this mod is at its best untouched, unless you know what you're doing. Next up is a mod that directly works with NPCs use items. They're actually a requirement for this mod. This mod is called Kinfluence. This mod is more so the drug side of the NPCs use items, which allows NPCs to use every single item that you can use just to make combat harder. But this mod does much more in terms of making enemies more unique and harder. Every NPC will fight based on the weapon that they currently have. So raiders with guns will actually try and keep their distance and shoot you from far away. But NPCs with melee weapons will charge you, or they may end up just circling you if they don't have any long-range companions to help them get close to you. It's kind of scary how smart the NPCs seem now, but of course they are still NPCs and it is still Fallout 4, so can't completely fix NPCs. There will still be some jank here and there, but it's definitely much better than before. Next is a mod called Direct Hit, which coincides with all the other mods previous. This is a lightweight mod adding in locational damage that is based on armor. So if you shoot an unarmored body part, it will do more damage than if you were to shoot an enemy that is fully covered in armor. Which kind of makes sense if you think about it. That's how it always should have been, but not in regular Fallout. This mod is completely compatible with every single mod before this one, because I mean they were all made by the same person. The only issue is that the damage that you see in VATS will not be correct, because it is still based on Bethesda's old formula, what they think will be the correct damage, versus the new formula introduced with this mod. But if you're using bullet time, slow time, or VATS if you choose to go that one, which is more buggy, you probably won't end up using VATS too much anyway. And if you want to add just one more small mod with the rest of these, you can also grab their other mod, which is called Grenade Timer Overhaul, which just makes grenades more immersive by making them take longer to explode. But it's a small mod, not very needed, but very immersive. And honestly, that was pretty much it. I tried to keep this list as compatible and as simple as possible. Every single mod I used for this video will be linked in the description for you guys to refer to. The only thing I didn't do was a graphical showcase and a Fallout 4 script extender installation guide, which is made by a bunch of people already. But I do recommend to at least look at the requirements for each mod, in case I missed something because I'm not perfect. But I definitely should have gotten most things, at least to make this work. And make this as painless and as easy as possible when you first install Fallout 4. Because especially with the new Fallout series coming out, I know a lot of new people will be coming back to Fallout 4 just so that they can mod. Even if the show isn't that great, there will still be new people, so hopefully this guy helps them. And like I said, a graphical guide will come next if it is asked for, but honestly I made this video because I was asked for it. I'm usually happy just showcasing an 8 to 10 minute video of new mods for you guys that I ended up enjoying, because I will admit, I'm not the best at modding Skyrim or Fallout 4, but I do know the basics and what's meant to go together, and what works really well together. So just let me know if a part 2 is needed, even though I don't think one will be since most things are included in this. But that was it for today guys. Let me know what you thought. This video was my longest video. Even if it doesn't get many views, I do hope it at least helped some of you. So make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel. But as of right now, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love.